Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, the 5th of August, Friday, 2022, and I was gone for 39 hours. I went to the Gaspésie and then back home, and so I did like literally a loop. So I went the most east that you can go, like on the on this Quebec side, and I looked at Percy Rock, and I took pictures and I took videos, and I went through the long way back, just so I could, again, just like do the whole coastal area and make my own observations of a lot of things that I've been researching and that I can't unsee now, right? So when I was there, I took pictures of Percy Rock, and it looks to me like a cut down tree that is now a stump. And that could be knots, like where the arches are, that could be like knots from the tree too. And in so many different places in the world, there are like the Grand Canyon in Arizona, in Chile, in places of Brazil, in China, if I haven't already mentioned that one, but all over the place. Like especially the ones that were with the flat tops, with things growing on top or not, it doesn't really matter, because even in an aquarium or whatever you want to call it, there's like moss or like or algae or whatever you want to call it that like can actually like live on top of the surface, that people like pull off, like a rug almost from the bottom of some terrariums and aquariums and stuff like that. So yeah, so even these trees that are above, they could possibly be sprouts or whatever you want to call it of these ancient trees that are below, that are more silicone based. And so in plain sight, so Silicon Valley and places in the US, I think is just like that, keeping that ancient entomology or ancient history, I guess, of the fact that in a lot of places, a lot of old big trees that are significant in structure have been taken down, and why. And they used to be very, very high, right? So if you look at the bases of some of these huge mountains, if you go to the Grand Canyon, for example, and you see that, I'm going to post a link to the video that I was looking at with like pictures and with like drones and overhead views of like all these mountains, and then comparisons with tree stumps, and like the similarities, like you just cannot unsee it when you see it. And how like there's, so like this proves again that there was advanced technology, advanced in design and size, and that a lot of these areas like had the like a lot of these areas were once used for other reasons, and had like different environments and ecosystems and different types of humans, maybe even like larger ones, maybe even smaller ones too, and different species of animals that were able to survive like during those conditions. And so, and we're carbon based, like, and these are silicone based, and so like, and so the tree of life and so many different cultures and religions, discuss the tree of life and all this stuff. So I'm wondering if this really is some kind of like a tree of life in this flat plane, multi-dimensional holographic reality that we are experiencing. And yeah, and so that was interesting. And then, oh yeah, and so larger equipment too. And so huge pieces of machinery that made these huge mountain areas look like quarries, essentially. And so like when you look at a lot of areas, it's very structured. Like it looks like it's very like the patterns are not natural in nature, right? And even like the ones that go up, these look like tree trunks, and then rings of trees too in a lot of areas, and petrified trees now. And so what happened? And it would be interesting if we could just figure that out. But what do people do throughout history? Elite occult people that want to keep power, and knowledge is power. They burn libraries, they don't teach it in schools, they oppress kids, or different, like gender, like women, like in a lot of places that they still cannot go to school. And it goes in cycles too, right? And so, but yeah, like when you make a society like uneducated and illiterate and oppressed and divided, then they're easily controlled and manipulated. And so this is what I mean, like with this flat Earth stuff, with like this fake space stuff, with this fake moon as we see it, and sun as we see it, and planets as we see them, and oh yeah, even with yeah, anyways, like the more we expose this stuff, the more we can realize too that even the pharmaceutical companies and big tech and military industrial complex, the people at the high end, they're extremists. I don't know if they're Rosicrucianists, or if they're Zionists, or if they're Freemasons, or if they're like all of the above, or whatever. It doesn't matter. They're a group of people that have protected their own for literally thousands of years, And there's always some kind of resets, whether they be man-made or not, and whether these men are like us or more advanced, evolved, still on the world now, but in other areas that we can't see them, or don't have access to see them, then yeah, I don't know. But like these resets, this possibly could be like a phoenix reset, like, and so where this bird like goes in the sky in some areas and causes cataclysmic damage, and then these people that are all over the place. So now they're all over the world, right? And so like if anything happens in one area, because they can't predict, like I don't think they can predict where and like where this phoenix or whatever could possibly like target, because I guess like that's one thing. I don't know. Maybe they can, but it's very precise throughout history, and it's archaics and so many other people that are chronologists that discuss this, and they show a lot of proof. So every 138 years, meaning 1902 was the last one. And so looking at events that precede that and proceed that, and then even like before that, and 2040 being the next time this possibly comes, and which is why we're being distracted by so many different things in the world as these people plan and prepare and go back underground and bring their resources and build up their stuff and keep us again distracted, so that we can't prepare and plan and expect it or be aware of it too. And then when it does happen, things happen, then they come back underground. If they were hiding in different areas, they talk, okay, this is what happened here, this is what happened here, okay, like let's move all these people here and these people here, okay, like now like we'll and then there's like massive adoptions, and then people like get dropped off again and then recolonize, and then like, oh, these magical buildings, you know, that survive these cataclysmic events are again like populated and reclaimed, I guess. And then it's rinse, recycle, repeat, and it's just so annoying that we just keep doing it. And if my predictions for the year and next year are even remotely close, then we gotta saddle up. So like if we're mirroring 1974, then like that's when Pierre Elliott was in power, and then he got removed from power in 1974, and so like that's apparently like something that you can like look at this year for similarity. So if Justin Trudeau gets removed, especially if it's a vote of non-confidence, I don't know, but as long as he gets removed, like then that would be very interesting, and a very interesting prediction that came true based on gematria or gematria, however you want to pronounce it. Oh, back to the ancient mountain things. Oh my God. And these quarries, and cutting them down in advanced designs, and but they also have like windmills. And so I was in the Murdochville area, and again like on large mountains, and so who built these and how and why, and wildlife preservation areas, observation posts, hydro places, wildlife refuges all over Canada. Like these are all owned and controlled by these people too, and except for obviously like the main employees that work there, they're just not given the same information. And yeah, it's all hidden. So I just wanted to talk about that, and how in a previous video I was saying that it was that I was thinking that with mountains, it was just cover-ups for like ancient structures and runes and stuff like that. That is the case with some as well, but then there's also the trees now too. So I wanted to correct that point as well. And my point on magnetism and electricity with the sun and the moon. The more I like research these things and go down these holes, like I do want to correct myself if I ever know I'm wrong with things. And so the moon, self-illuminating, controls the the waves and the tides and stuff like that, I believe, with like electrical currents and stuff like that. But also the sun, like I've said, it's magnetic, self-illuminating, closer to us than we are being led to believe, but repels water. So like I think that the sun also definitely impacts like the ebb and flow of the water, and like the ebb and flow. So increasing and decreasing, and because some research experiments and stuff that have been done with different types of magnets, and you put water like in like dishes or containers, like wherever the magnets are, it's like like the water's repelled by it until like the very, very, very last like possible moment. And so yeah, So these are all also things that would be interesting to consider. So I went back, I'll go back to 1974. So if Trudeau gets removed from power and Biden as well, this would be very interesting because they also are on their own kind of path based on Gematria. That there are similarities to the way things might go here, just because of like a close proximity and like we're very similar political ideologies and stuff like that, and religious stuff, but also like the international stuff too. So if there's like a fake alien invasion of sorts, or like then I think that is going to be something that's planned and staged by government of all the countries, because they all are working together and just pretending that they don't. It's a lie. And if any countries have leaders that get elected in that aren't part of these like occult groups, then they get assassinated or removed in other ways, right? And so, or family members, and then they step down and resign, or character assassinated. There's so many different ways to get them out. And so with Trudeau, like it's his lineage and line, like it is old, so he's definitely affiliated with these groups and knows a lot more than what's being said. And so if he would come out and like openly admit flat earth stuff, flat holographic earth stuff, and space being fake and the planets not being what we think they are, being luminaries though, and then like why, and then, you know, like NASA, like why we lie about NASA and the moon landings and the rockets like in space, like what they're really for. They're trying to like break through this glass ceiling or firmament or dome or whatever you want to call it, and they share that information openly in so many different forums, and it's now being more and more shared. But yeah, so in the next like year or so, like I do see or predict, and so do other people like Archaics, that there's going to be there's going to be an attempt for us to be more energy independent, and so like not just the U.S. but Canada as well, and there was like a Alaskan pipeline deals and discussions that were on the table in 1974 with Biden in office then, but that are probably also going to be put back on the table now, reintroduced, maybe adopted now, because that's when it was cut down or dismissed, and so maybe that's something that in the next year will be re-looked at. So that would be interesting if it would be. And then for us, it would be Alberta. That's where we have a lot of our oil companies and things like that. And so who knows? And with that, you know, being said, with resources, when you have the resources and the money and the power and stuff like that, you also have a lot more say. So like, who knows what's going to happen with Canada if we become energy independent and all these other things, and more like internalized and like not so like internationally, you know, stretched, I don't know, then yeah, I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, like it's August now, and if my predictions for Biden are correct, then like in the next week or so, then there might be a change of presidency in the U.S. But again, I don't know, and I don't wish harm on anyone, obviously, and I hope that everyone, you know, in the world is safe forever and living in peace and harmony, but that's not a reality, right? And so it'd be interesting to see what happens there. The next person that's going to come in, though, like in the next elections, like, and I think it's going to be Canada and the U.S., but it's going to be like in a more ecclesiastic, like religious, like right, you know, like leader that's going to be like extreme right. And like the people that are extreme left, they went, or they are going as far as they possibly can, and now it's just too there's too much resistance, there's too much pushback, and so now it's going to be you know, sowing the seeds for this new extreme right political organization to come in, and I think that's going to be the like the end of democracy and in Canada and the U.S., or at least in the U.S. And more of a republic, I don't know, or maybe something more like ancient in their system of governance. But it'll be interesting in any case, and we'll see if that, you know, also includes like the bordering regions as well with the U.S. like us, and if they're going to be including us in that that separation, which likely might happen, but you never know. And so while that's happening in the next year or so, it's also going to mean that that's possibly going to be war again, or tensions in Iraq and Iran and other areas in the Middle East. And then there might be some involvement again with people trying to attack Israel. This stuff happens in cycles. I hope not, but again, you never know. And but not something that's going to lead to like a World War III event. Although there is going to be, again, like something happening on an international level that's going to impact a lot of people. I think it's going to be a staged, planned event, regardless of how many people, you know, are impacted by this, and the environment and animals and stuff like that. Like it just, regardless of what you think or believe, it's going to be a staged, planned event by multiple levels of government. And I hope that we all just like see it for what it is and call it out, and don't freak out and do crazy things because of it. And then there's going to be, I was saying about like EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, and like power outages and things like that coming in the near future. We're already seeing a little bit of it, and we're seeing like an impact with our appliances and usage and stuff like that. Oh yeah, even satellites for like fake. And so like it's the antennas, and so like I've been obsessing too about like how antennas and rods are different materials and different designs and different shapes, but they're like on so many different buildings, right? And so it leads me to believe that that's like the design of these buildings and these monuments and these like ruins and like these other areas, like it had energy transmission in or power generation in consideration for the design itself. So like these were not buildings that were ever made to be lived in or occupied or for like religious, you know, like ceremonies and gatherings and stuff like that. And actually, even in books, it does say that the like the church is the people and not like and congregating and not you know, a big ass building that's you know, like worth like millions of dollars, and like, you know, people don't pay taxes and they exploit people. Not just children, but nuns as well, and like some priests and popes. And people don't want to hear this, but they do awful, gross things to, you know, women that they choose and brainwash, manipulate, and control, and yeah. And yeah, so secrets. Rosemary's Baby was probably just like a subtle, like hidden in plain sight, like obvious. I don't know, thing where like it just shows that like even like with nunneries and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going on these weird tangents. Oh yeah, I'm a little tired because I got back. I did 2,500 kilometers ish in like 39 hours with 2 dogs and a Jeep. And I just got back like last night, and I was up at 5 still, and so like I'm still a bit exhausted, so my apologies for that. But I did want to get this video out because like I have so much in my brain right now that I need to release. And oh yeah, so these EMPs, these electrical outages, there's going to be more. The next big one, I think, is going to be it's going to proceed like different, you know, significant countries in the world threatening big things. But then there's going to be possibly some outage, and then again impacting just like certain areas possibly more than others for like a few days or a few weeks or whatever. And then once we get back online with the internet, then things were going to be changed. Accounts are not going to be able to get back up. Certain ones, algorithms going to change. There's going to be like a lot of information removed. That just like burning libraries, right? Like that's exactly what we're going to be doing with these outages and EMPs. And they're going to be also staged. So like even like these Carrington events that have happened in the past that I've mentioned before, I'm being led to believe they were more planned and staged by these elite people than we are being led to believe, and not so much natural in the design or creation. And it's very easy to do, right? Like even Tesla, he was really good at controlling electricity and harvesting it and manifesting it, and throughout history with the world, there have been advanced beings that have been able to do even more than that, right? And so these ancient structures all over the world, these like natural wonders and these man-made wonders or whatever, like they are older than we are being led to believe, made by people that we are not, like we're not being told the truth about who made them and what they were used for, the purposes and all that other stuff. Like I just want to make that perfectly clear, so much to people. And that we can look to so many different things in the environment to disprove a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, and so like that's why like when the ancient trees that were like right behind my home on this heritage site, when they got torn down like within 24 hours in March before any construction was done. And it doesn't make sense to me even more now. I'm like, you completely ruined everyone's privacy and stuff like that, and protection from electricity from like the transformer station that's literally like 100 meters away that now has more electrical output, and like with more sun exposure and more wind exposure, and like all the soil that's now being damaged, and now explosions. This is all could have been mitigated if they would have just left the trees and then did their work where they're doing it first, and then go after the trees again, because like now they're using like these like weird like barriers to protect from explosions that are not even working. And so it could have been, again, like more protection. And I know people are struggling with the explosions because I'm hearing kids screaming and crying. I'm hearing people screaming and saying like, like losing it. They're like literally having psychotic breaks. It sounds like I'm looking, because like I'm looking at my backyard right now, but people are like, it's enough. This like, I mean, this can't be legal. And I've said that too. But like even yeah, people are like, how, like, oh yeah. And the other thing people were saying the other day was like, how can we're not allowed to have like farms, like, or little gardens in our backyards in the suburbs, and or like even like a piece of like litter, and then bylaw gives us tickets, and we can't like even shoot in our backyard, like guns or whatever, but like people can literally like cause huge explosions within like 50 to 20 meters away from thousands of people, and that like 7 days a week. It's from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. 7 days a week, but that's okay because it's city and it's government. And government works for us, right? Not against us. But, oh yeah, it's like the less they lie about all these, like, deep cover-ups, the more, like, people like me will have faith in society again, have faith in our government, right? Because, like, once the people at the top, because, like, all the leaders that are going to be coming in are going to be, like, they're groomed for this position, right? Like, there's no, like, we don't actually elect people. We don't choose who goes in. And I think that's another misconception, too. So, again, like, left and right, it's all wings of the same bird. And so even if Pierre comes in, too, I'm hoping that he's not going to follow the trend of being, like, an ecclesiastic, far-right, religious extremist type leader, or the one that proceeds him, and that, but then someone that's also, like, not atheist, right? Like it would be good if we had, like, a more libertarian, balanced, open-minded person that has, like a spiritual, like, ethical, moral ideology or life, and lives by that, and not, like, atheists or the extremists. And even Nancy Pelosi, like, she mentioned so many times, like, I'm very Catholic. I'm extremely Catholic. This is what I mean. Like, you could go, like, extreme left or extreme right in things, and so you never know. Either way, extremists are not good, whether they be leftists or rightists. I don't even know if that's a word. But anyway, oh yeah, 1992 was the last time the U.S. Like, had, like, nuclear explosions, or whatever you want to call it. And so 30 years ago, and I'm wondering why, and they did so many tests, and so many other countries did so many tests too, and what were they doing, and why, and where, and how much of an impact on the environment did that have? So if you look at the Starfish program, the fishbowl, nuking the atmosphere. So let me see if I'm missing anything for today. I'm talking about a lot of weird things again. And yeah, I just want to make sure that I get everything. If anyone is ever interested in doing, like, exploration or considering things on their own, I highly encourage and recommend it. And like, I think the only way that we can possibly make any kind of change on our own is if we bring this information to our local leaders in a peaceful way, and I don't know. And just go from there. I have no idea what to do anymore, because, like, this just, I don't know how scripted this is, and if people know that they're, playing roles or not too, right? It's just, like, it's just so frustrating, but, I don't know. We'll see how things unfold in the next 24, 48 months. I mean, not hours or years or anything like that. Just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah, even the internet. It existed in 1974. It was called, like, ARPANET or something like that, and and Telenet was the internet. So like so this is what I mean with advanced designs and technology as well. This is stuff that has been hidden from us intentionally so that people can benefit and exploit and monopolize on having this stuff, and not giving it to us or introducing it to us like so much, like, you know, after it's been developed and or rediscovered or whatever you want to call it, which is frustrating as well. And so yeah, like I just think that we just need people to be transparent. We just need to have access to things, be able to read like the data that's out there in the Vatican and so many different other areas, and stop burning stop burning things, right? And hiding the information and covering up sculptures and runes and paintings and you know what I mean, like painting over them even, or like scraping over them, and then calling them your own, and then everyone is like, yeah, even Shakespeare, like if people look at the history of him, like this is what I mean, there's so many layers to these lies and deceit, and it's so hard to unpack it when 24/7 we're being bombarded by social media and leaders and education systems and hospitals and stuff like that that are literally brainwashed into believing this stuff and not questioning it. And we're saying like, oh, like you know, like hundreds of years ago, you know what I mean, like people were not as educated and advanced as they are now, and all this stuff. Again, lies. And sorry, where do I want to go with that point? I had a point with that. Oh yeah, like the flat holographic Earth. This has been discussed and taught for thousands of years, and there's still evidence out there that has not been burned intentionally by these elitists, where that proves and shows the science and all the diagrams and the studies and like all the research, all the experiments, everything, of people like showing that information. And then only in the last couple hundred years have these people that want to manipulate and brainwash and deceive us into believing ridiculous things. They started bringing in these like fake theories that's based on faith, like the theory of relativity and gravity and stuff like that. It doesn't exist, and it's just these friends and family that just reinforce this stuff and then keep us distracted by using psychological operations and just getting better at it and using so many different techniques. And so when you break patterns, I've said this before, when you break patterns, that helps you become an anomaly, and then you're a malfunction in the system, in the matrix, or whatever you want to call it, and then you become like more aware, I guess, of the things around you, and it's really, really weird, but yeah, but even now, and even in the last like hundreds of years, there are people that have had strong arguments and went against these people that claim these things, like even the theory of evolution with Charles Darwin, not real. We've been genetically altered and tested for thousands of years too, and this is where I mean there's like these observation posts and like and wildlife preserves and wildlife refuges and stuff like that. But there's also like human trafficking. There's also ceremonial gathering, weird places where these elitists and celebrities and leaders of all sorts go and they do weird things. And this is true. And like more and more of this evidence is being shared. And if I could have closed door conversations with people in our level of, in our government too, I could share this data. I have a lot of data that I can show that I obviously can't share on YouTube. But it's on hard drives and on my laptops and my own notes and stuff like that. And I would have to spend a while and just go over this stuff for days or weeks with like a panel. That's what I mean. And decondition people into the programming that they've been so indoctrinated in their entire lives, their parents' lives, and their parents' lives. And this is what I mean. Like it goes back so much. And so. And it's, you know, and it's like I'm offering these, so I really hope this is something that does happen, because it helps us all. And if there is something that's going to be coming up in the year 2040, and these reset plans that these elitists, you know, are planning come to fruition in the next 8 years, like they're planning with these planned demics and utilizing pharmaceuticals as the weapons now against us. And they've been trying more with war, like I've said before, but we've lost the appetite for it more and more because we're being because the lies are being exposed as to actually the reality on the ground and why things are happening where, and how even with like what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine, like lies and again like more gray and not so much black and white, with like people on different sides doing things that we're being told they're not doing. And again, yeah, like even like Ukrainian soldiers like shooting up their own stuff and claiming it to be Russians and vice versa. And it goes anyway. I'll just keep it at that for now, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.